Trovvit is participating in the Accelerator. We're meeting mentors. We're getting tips about how to increase our market reach. We are learning about market product fit, how to find the people who really would like to be using Trovvit and how to explain to them what Trovvit does.
The problem we're solving is that the traditional transcript from high school, which people have used for generations to apply to college, is sort of a one-dimensional, incomplete document. It captures your grades, your courses, your GPA, but it doesn't capture proof of your work. It can't show that visually, and it doesn't capture all the learning that you're doing outside of the school as well. So Trovvit addresses that problem by helping anyone, but our focus is on 6th to 12th graders, start capturing, creating a portfolio of all the work, all the learning that they're doing real time from the multiple places that they're learning. So that by the time you're ready to apply to a competitive high school or college, you have a trove of all of your records and are better able to create an output, a portfolio, and tell your story.
So at that pain point in 11th grade when they say, what is your special talent? What are your leadership roles? You don't like this and want to keel over, but you think, oh, actually, I have an entire trove of summer camps that I've helped build things, robotics, travels that I've done, my particular hobby, which is bird watching, that you've got a history, a visual history of what you do, and you can use that for your essay, you could use that to get recommendations, and you can use that to put together an actual portfolio, because colleges actually are accepting portfolios in lieu of a lot of those things now.
We're addressing that in a few ways. One is
We're starting with the moms.
Starting with the moms, right? So our research shows, not surprisingly maybe, that moms, about 90% of those we polled, are the primary person responsible for or taking responsibility for the pathways of their children. Whether that's camp, after school, play dates, course selection, the fathers are involved, but the mom's not only doing that, but then organizing it. So parents are already doing this. They're capturing and organizing the best work. They're trying to share it via Facebook or email or putting it on a fridge. But then when it comes to time to leverage that and actually use it, they have nowhere to go. So we start with the moms. Because we've set up a student-safe system, younger students can start engaging this even before they're getting on to things like Snapchat, Instagram, or Facebook. They're starting to build what we'd call their learning network. So they're sharing it with their mentor, their teacher, their parents. They're showing the pride in the work that they do, and they're getting feedback real time on that. So they continue to add to that over time, and it becomes a practice. So that by the time they are taking it over in 9th, 10th, 11th grade, they can actually be doing this on a more natural basis. The other way we solve that is we have an account for the school or the camp or the after-school program. So if you're one of my students, if you're one of my campers, I can actually create a record and share it with you. You can then keep that in your trove, but if you want to show it or share it, it's clear that it came from my school and was created by Torrance. So when you're showing that, it's actually a verified copy so that the viewer, unlike on LinkedIn, could see that it actually came from a real institution.
Well, and we made it an app, so it's on your phone, it's kind of groovy and simple looking. You take the picture, you upload it to your record, you have it. So it's not very different than having an Instagram account or a Snapchat. So in that sense, we have made it for 9th, 10th, 11th graders who this is where they're recording what they're doing.
So the accelerators, it's a great opportunity to do just that. Help you focus for 3 months on how you're going to accelerate the business. And in that regard, we've been challenged by not just the mentors, but Jonathan and Ash specifically, to say, what are you going to do in the next week? What are you going to do in the next month? What are you specifically going to be able to show that you're doing that either works or, equally important, doesn't work to grow the business? And having that sort of structure ourselves is very useful because, like you said, we can spend a lot of time focused on things that are interesting, responding to our clients, but then not being able to answer those questions, which is important to drive the business.
Today was broken into basically 3 parts. The first part is we met with 3 different mentors this morning, had a chance to do a fast pitch of our business, get feedback from them on our pitch, feedback from them on what they think, given their experience, are the challenges we're facing, what actual help they can offer. People introduce us to companies that have faced similar challenges or that were able to do things we want to do, like grow virally. Who's good at doing that? Who should you talk to? So the 3 mentors, which is very useful, and then we busted really hard on a lot of other projects that they've been asking us to give back. And then we met in the afternoon with Carlos Williams, who's a marketing expert, who reviewed all of the marketing things we currently have out, graded us on them, and then told us sort of, where do you need to focus your very limited resources to be better, to be more fun, to reach your market better. So that was very useful. So that's kind of, and now we're talking to you. That's 4 things.
I think we've already come away with a lot, right? So I've done EdTech before. I started a successful learning management, content management company that focused on K-12 schools called EDTECH, and we started in 1999 as a software as a service in the cloud. Both things were unheard of. The exciting thing for me is the way we built that company then was literally building it from the ground up. We had our servers, we had our code, we had to license specific technology. Today, it has changed so drastically and what you can do to get things getting going that the tools are changed. So entire pieces of our application or company, which we would have had to hire a team to do, we can now just spin up on a server or hire a consultant. And having their expertise, having been in that space for the last several years, it's great to say, here are your 3 options, and given what you guys are looking at, you should really look at this one. That's just saved us 3 months right there.
I think that everybody here has a kind of interesting personal backstory about why they're building the EdTech tool that they're building. It either answers a pain point that they particularly have, or, like Nurseversity, his wife's a nurse and his daughter's a nurse. Everybody has a kind of particular personal connection to why they're building this tool instead of something else. And we're parents, and we have a 13-year-old and 11-year-old, and they are going to apply to college someday, but even more importantly, they're creating a huge amount of interesting work that I'm tasked with managing, and I want to find them ways to do more cool stuff. And there are limits, what I've found, there are limits on the internet to be able to kind of, Charlie would like to do more marine biology. What are the things he can do when he's 11? Or Sky is a competitive rider. How can she do that? We don't want to own a horse. What are other ways you can do that? So because we're focused on this pain point right now, you're laughing, right? Because there's not. Because we're in it, we have a kind of a real immediate connection to what we're building. And I think that's true for everybody.
Yeah, and I guess one of the questions I think that you said, what's another one we should be asking is, there are really sort of 2 big EdTech accelerators that exist today. This is one of them, the other's on the West Coast. And for an industry that is the 2nd largest industry in the United States and probably the most important industry, it's amazing how little capital, how little interest there has been in EdTech. It's slow to move. I think, having been in it now 20 years, the excitement I have is because there's so many different ways and places one can learn, that the choice as a parent or a learner to go to my school, where all of my learning was going to happen, and then go to the next school, and then go to college, that pathway is totally changing. And for us, we're trying to help learners capture that and stay in touch with their networks and grab their records from the multiple places they're learning. But it's changing on many different levels. So the companies here and the companies that are part of the Accelerator, I think, are really recognizing that and assisting both the schools, the teachers, the students in different ways with this new reality that we're facing.
Because we'd never done this before, or I hadn't, I didn't have an expectation of what the other companies would be like, and the people are like smart, funny, dynamic. Everybody's looking for a way to like give someone else a hand up. They're like, "Ooh, I've got a great idea for you," or "Why don't we connect in this way?" So as a kind of builder of companies, the community has been really surprisingly helpful.
Yeah. So I was a mentor for this group last year, just to make it interesting. And I think this class is better, just saying.
Just saying.
But it's true. The nice thing, and I can't speak because I wasn't there daily with the other class, but this year has been very much listening to each other, giving suggestions, and making connections. So, I mean, just today, you asked what we were doing today. There was a school we wanted to talk to the guidance counselor, and someone raised their hand who's part of the Accelerator and said, I'll write a personal email right now for you, and I know those people, and sent that
We've had
email.
like 3 emails like that in the past 2 days.
Right,
People that we
from
couldn't
people
necessarily
here,
get
not
to.
even the mentors. And then
Right.
the mentors are opening up conversations with, you should be talking to this company, but you should be talking to this person. And I said, oh, well, I know these 2 people. He said, don't talk to them. Talk to this person.
And I'll help you get there.
And they're going to open those doors. So that was hoped for. I think people hope for those things, but it's been actually a true reality in the first 3 weeks. And now we're just trying to follow up with all of them, right? And keep up to speed on that.
Right, well, so we're married. It's very efficient. Right? There's really we're not losing a lot of time commuting. No, it's been really efficient. We've also we've been married for 17 years. We built 2 houses. We've raised 2 kids. We've done a lot of unpleasant, difficult, hard things together, and we have a way largely of working together that's works out
Well,
so far.
and it's fun.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, this is fun. We're doing something interesting that's helping students, that's helping parents. It's fun. It doesn't cost a lot to keep this thing running at this stage. We're getting to the point where it's becoming a bigger business, and we need to figure out how we're going to grow. We've done things like this before, but ultimately this is still exciting. So the technology and the product is sound and great. We are gathering a lot of feedback both from users and from the schools and or the camps and after-school programs about how they could use this more easily, make the onboarding better, and get more feedback on it from the system. So the good news is we're sort of on our product and business plan. We're still hitting those goals. And the focus of the Accelerator is to keep bringing us back to 1 or 2 things to execute just in the next 3 months and put the others on hold, which has, again, helped us to focus when you're wearing 18 hats. And, number 17 is sort of fun, and maybe I'll do that for the next 3 hours and still doing the stuff I really need to do.